Hello everyone, welcome to another video here on Motorcycling Endeavors. A viewer had left a comment and asked, I would like to see you do a video where you talk about the differences and experiences of the two bikes. The two bikes he's referring to are the Kawasaki Vulcan S and Heritage Classic, along with attending Harley events. I'm going to address the second part of that question first, which is the attending of Harley events. I have not, nor do I plan on attending Harley events. I am simply not a social butterfly. If I had friends that rode, and I would tag along and go with them because at least I'd have somebody to talk to and hang out with. But just showing up on my own is just not my thing. I am not a social butterfly. Thus, I do not plan on attending Harley events in the future. It's just that simple. Now let's talk about the meat of the video, which is the Kawasaki Vulcan S and Heritage Classic. I had to put some thought in behind this because the bikes are not apples for apples. Even though they're cruiser class motorcycles, they're both very different bikes. And I'll just let the specs and the photos speak for themselves. So what I decided to do, and I hope it suffices, is actually talk about three key areas that are important to motorcyclists, at least in my opinion, which is cost, maintenance, and modifications. So let's hit it. Cost. The Kawasaki Vulcan S will run you between $7,000 and $8,000 brand new. If you find the right deal at the right time of the year, you probably could get that motorcycle brand new for under $7,000, which is fantastic for such an awesome motorcycle. And with the motorcycle being around since 2015 without any significant design changes, at least to my knowledge, the used price point on that bike is probably very good. Thus, I would say the Kawasaki Vulcan S is a budget-friendly purchase, both new and used, to be honest with you. The Heritage Classic, on the other hand, is $21,000. It is 3 times the price of the Kawasaki Vulcan S. This is not the kind of purchase you make if you're thinking about, I might like to have adventure bikes, or I don't know if motorcycling's for me. 20 grand is a lot of money. I mean, granted, if you're at the part in your life where you could drop 20 grand out of your bank account and not wince or blink or gulp, God bless you for being there. But for the vast majority, that's not the case, whether you buy it outright or you finance it. It's an expensive purchase. There are two other key components of cost as well, which is registration and insurance. Here in Indiana, the registration is based off of MSRP. So, if you think about it, the higher the MSRP, the more expensive your registration is. So, the MSRP on the Kawasaki Vulcan S is between $7,000 and $8,000. That's what your registration is based off of. For the Heritage, it's about $21,000. So, cheaper to register the Kawasaki Vulcan S than it is the Heritage Classic. Just to give you an idea how expensive it could be, my Ford Fusion since 2014 and the Heritage Classic is just about as much to register as the Ford Fusion as the car. No lie, it's just about as much. It's not that far off. And then the same goes for insurance as well. Logic, facts, and common sense. It cost me about $220 a year to insure the Kawasaki Vulcan S, $360 for the Heritage Classic. Think about it. Heritage Classic, bigger, more expensive, is going to be more to insure. So, bottom line, Heritage Classic, it's a bigger drain on the budget, both for initial purchase, registration-wise, and insurance-wise over the Heritage Classic. I mean, over the Kawasaki Vulcan S, sorry. So that's the cost component. Now let's jump into maintenance. For the Kawasaki Vulcan S, I did all the maintenance myself, and I owe a lot of that to the YouTube community that put out a lot of great videos regarding bike maintenance. So I changed my own oil, cleaned and lubed the chain, made any adjustments, and I was all able to do that with relative ease. And I did not come across anything that required, that was above my skill level and required hands of professionals to do. So I was able to do everything myself. The only thing that I recommend to those who have a Vulcan S or are thinking about it, if you don't already have one, buy yourself a rear tire stand, because cleaning and lubing the chain without it sucks. I did that the first 3 times and it was god awful. I tell you, it was awful. I hated it. The Heritage Classic, I am just taking it right to the shop. I am letting the dealership and professionals take care of the maintenance on this motorcycle. Why? I dropped $20,000 on it and it was a huge investment, and I just don't want to screw it up. And that's just the flat out honesty there. It is my baby. Now maybe down the road I'll do my own oil changes, but for the scheduled maintenance and for everything that has to be done, I am just going to have the professionals do it and take care of it. My dealership has a pickup and drop-off service, so I'm just going to take full advantage of that. Yes, it's going to cost me a little bit, sure, but you know what? I'd rather have the peace of mind of having professionals do all the maintenance and buttoning up and making sure that it's in perfect running condition than me perhaps second guessing myself on something. So that is the maintenance part. So Kawasaki Vulcan S, pretty straightforward. I did it all myself. Heritage Classic, I'm just taking it into the shop. The next part is modifications. I absolutely made modifications or accessories or adjustments to the Kawasaki Vulcan S. I added Viking saddlebags, I added floorboards, I tried a windscreen, I changed grips. But the biggest thing that I did was buy the Corbin seat. If you're going to do one thing, one accessory, one modification to that motorcycle, the Corbin seat's the game changer, because the stock seat is absolutely pure garbage. So there is a bunch of other things that you can add to the Kawasaki Vulcan S. All you have to do is just look at the various different catalogs. There's different kinds of saddlebags. There's various windscreens, and there's power ports that you can buy for the Kawasaki Vulcan S. So there's a lot of things that a lot of accessorizing and modifications you can do on that bike and make it your own. So, man, this wind is wicked. I'm just going to let this car go by here. There we go. Wow, that wind is crazy. Storms are coming, and so this wind is just out of control. So definitely did a modifications on the Kawasaki Vulcan S. You could definitely do it. The Heritage Classic is the same boat. You can buy a lot of modifications and accessories for the Kawasaki Vulcan S. I have done one modification myself, and that was put on fork wind deflectors, which were fantastic, and which I really glad I did. I don't know why this person's not going here since I'm turning, but maybe it's just being cognizant, so I respect that. Ooh, go down one. There we go. All right, there we go. Thought I was in second, but I was actually in third. So, where was I? Oh yeah. The Heritage Classic, I also did modifications on myself. I only did one, which is the fork wind deflectors, and which I picked up from JES Custom Accents, because Harley Davidson did not have fork wind deflectors for the Heritage Classic. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to remove the airflow that was coming up from under the tank, because it was creating a turbulence and buffeting situation on my full face helmet, and it was like my head was in a paint mixer. Now my future modifications and adjustments that I am planning to do is I will definitely want to put on highway bars and just take off the passenger seat and put on a solo rack. Those are the only things I want to do at this time. As I get into some longer distance rides, and I'll do a further assessment of the seat and the ergonomics, just to kind of see if there's anything else I really need to do. I'm not big on performance parts, so I really don't need it. I'm not that kind of rider. I just like to get out and ride and cruise, and this motorcycle has more than enough power and performance I need, that I don't need to you know, maximize the crap out of it and spend my money there. I'd rather spend my money out on adventures than constantly modifying my bike to make it perform better. Just my opinion. That's all. Just my opinion. Man, this wind is crazy. So those are the three areas. I hope that made a little bit of sense as far as a comparison, because as I said, it's not apples to apples, so that's why I did cost, maintenance, and modifications. So what I'll do now is just give you my brief thoughts of my ownership experience of these two motorcycles. So I enjoyed owning both motorcycles. The Kawasaki Vulcan S was my first motorcycle, and I chose that motorcycle for three reasons. One, I wanted a mid-size bike, something that's easy to handle as I learned to ride. I also wanted the bike to be able to commute downtown Indianapolis. And I also wanted a bike that I could grow into. I didn't want to get a 300cc motorcycle and then have to upgrade shortly thereafter. The Kawasaki Vulcan S was a 650, and I felt that was more than enough. The motorcycle is very quick, it's very nimble, it's a joy to ride, it's easy to handle. Where it has its flaws and issues is on long distance rides. I discovered that after being on the bike 4, 5, and 6 hours, it's just not very comfortable. I cannot get comfortable on that bike on longer distance. And my changes in taste on motorcycling has changed. I thought I was going to be the weekend guy, the commuter guy, but the more I rode, the longer distances I wanted to ride, and the more distances I rode, the more I got into longer distance riding, and the more I want to do it. And I came to the realization that the Vulcan S was just not that motorcycle. And that is why I picked up the Heritage Classic. The Heritage Classic is a larger profile motorcycle. It is definitely more spread out. The ergonomics on this, to me, are a lot better. And it is too enjoyable to ride. Now, I haven't commuted to work on this thing yet. That is going to happen. It's actually going in for its 1,000-mile break-in service June 12th, so I'm looking forward to that. I get to take the 11th off because they'll get to come and pick up the motorcycle. So basically, the ownership of these bikes has been absolutely fantastic. They're motorcycles that I highly recommend to everyone. Well, let's put it this way. I highly recommend the Vulcan S to everyone. The Heritage Classic I recommend to everyone that is committed to riding a cruiser class motorcycle and is committed to motorcycling in general. It's just because of the price dropping 20 grand, you want to make sure that cruisers and motorcycling are definitely two things that you want to do. So anyway, that's the video. I hope it made sense. I'm hoping that this is not that long. I tried to shoot this video 4 times before and they were ridiculously long. So I kind of had to do my best to shorten it up the best I can. But anyway, that is the video for today. It's good to get back out on the bike. I had a long softball season, and when I wasn't umpiring, it was rainy or chilly. So good to be back on the bike. It's good to talk to you all again, and I hope you have a great and wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and I'll see you at the next video.